Alrighty, so given that it is 10:05, so go ahead and start getting ready. So my name is Tyler Gardner, and I'll be facilitating today's meeting as moderator. Today, we also will be having Lisa Dalton, our executive and board associate, who essentially will be keeping track of the time during today's candidate forum. In terms of today's candidate forum, we'll be going on over and discussing a little bit more about our candidates from the social sciences and interdisciplinary studies, also from our undergraduate candidates and our graduate studies candidates. So in terms of our candidates for our Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies, we have Nikita Akumov, Isabella Jimenez, Lillian Weiss, and Rebecca Cervantes. For our Director of Undeclared Students, we have Tinkle Mbalia. And then for our Director of Graduate Student Studies, we have Hisham Hussein. And then also we have Sashreen Arthur Nimbahard, who has withdrawn from the race. And in terms of our participants, can I also ask that you all turn on your cameras, please, for today's meeting. Also, for any of our participants or guests who are viewing, can we please have you send, for any guests who are here for the Leadership Initiative, can we please have you send over your name, first and last, as well as your Sac State email and your ID number to Lisa Dalton so that we can get your credits sent on over to the appropriate parties. In terms of today's meeting, the timing will be going as follows. Each candidate will provide 1 minute for an opening statement, followed by a minute for a general question, then transitioning on over to a 1 minute for a positional question, ending with 1.5 minutes for a closing statement. And then we will then be taking questions from the audience. In terms of questions, can I please have you all hold off towards the end to then put them in the chat? And then once they're in the chat, to my participants or the candidate forum, can I have you wait until the question has been spoken out to then respond? Thank you. And then in terms of timing, you will also see our executive and board associate Lisa Dalton do a timing. So she will be doing the 10-second countdown as things go down. And then once you are done, I may intercept and say sorry, but the speaker's time has elapsed, just as a heads up for today's meeting. So with that being said, let's transition on over into our guidelines as well. Any questions posed will also be asked of all candidates, unless you would like to pose the questions to candidates specifically running for a director position within that specific cohort. For example, you can ask a question posed to all candidates within today's meeting or specifically towards, for example, only our SSIS directors who are running. So also, a response time of 1 minute will be limited for our Q&A session for each candidate as they're answering the questions. And then no candidate may also pose another question to another candidate, as this may be considered unfair, and we want to make sure we have an even playing field for everyone. And then any statements made by ASI that are factually incorrect will be fact-checked on our ASI website under the voter information page. And ending that we do not automatically, as mentioned, we were not automatically answering the questions that are going to be presented during today's Q&A session from the audience, and please hold off until I'm reading them to then answer. So in terms of getting started, let's go ahead and start off by doing our opening statements from each candidate.
So Tyler, if you could start with SSIS and start with our first candidate, please, and I'll start the time.
Alrighty. Can we please have for Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies, Nikita Akumov, go off mute and start off your 1 minute opening statement, please?
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. Hey, everyone. My name is Nikita Akumov, and I'm running to be your next Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies. So as a freshman, from the moment I stepped foot on campus, I reached out to our student leaders, to our ASI, to find ways to actively participate in our community. Throughout this and last semesters, I was honored to participate and lead multiple ASI committees and the SSIS Joint Council. On the Faculty Senate and the Student Academic Senate, where I'm a strong advocate in ensuring that ASI and university resources, such as the food pantry, are displayed on our class syllabuses. Since 41% of our students are food insecure, these vital resources are necessary for our students to know and to ensure that the rate of that the rate of food insecurity goes down. And as president of the SSIS Joint Council, I advocated with the clubs to come and work together to provide resources for all of our students across all of our campuses or across all of our departments. So
I'm sorry, Nikita, your time has concluded.
thank you.
Alrighty, so now we'll be transitioning on over into our next candidate for the Director of SSIS, for Isabella Jimenez.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Thank you all for being here. Hello, my name is Isabella Jimenez. I'm currently a third year here at Sac State studying political science. I am absolutely honored to be running for the position of the Director of the Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies. To give a brief overview of my platform and myself, I believe love and compassion are what should motivate a leader to lead. These two elements ensure proper listening ears and attentive understanding with a goal to find solution and reinforce community. My mission of the Director of SSIS are to empower student voices and provoke change for the benefit of our future. If elected, I intend to collaborate with the multiple agencies we have here on campus to reinforce community through student participation, reassure safety on campus, and uplift the voice of our students who are underrepresented. Our problems need our solutions. By enhancing student participation, we'll be able to uplift our students with untapped potential. Let's allow love and compassion to motivate us.
I'm sorry, Isabella, but the speaker's time has elapsed.
All right, thank you guys.
And then next we will have also from the Director of SSIS, we have Lillian Weiss.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian Weiss, and I'll be running for Director of SSIS. I am Wakamni, a Native American tribe located in Visalia, California, and I've always believed in advocation, and I've done a lot of advocating throughout the state for Native American problems, and now I want to focus on school, and I feel like there's more problems than just in marginalized communities, and I want to do my best to be a listener, because I think one of the most important traits of a leader is being able to listen. So I want to be someone that people feel comfortable coming to tell me about their problems. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And then for our other person for running for the Director of Social Science and Interdisciplinary Studies, we have Rebecca Cervantes, who I believe is not going to be joining us today. But as a note to everyone joining here and to our audience members as well, no candidate is required to attend our candidate forums, and this is an optional event. So with that being said, let's move on over to our Director of Undeclared Students from Tinko Mbalia to give an opening statement.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Hey, everyone. My name is Twinkle Ambalia, and I'm very excited to announce my candidacy for running for Director of Undeclared Students. As an undeclared student myself, I understand the challenge that comes with finding your part. That's why I'm committed to creating a campus community where every student feels supported and being valued. And my vision for the position is to empower undeclared students to explore their interests and the passions and their hobbies, and to provide the appropriate guidance and the resources to help them make informed decisions about their future, and to create a sense of community belonging for all students on campus. With all the student support, we can make sure that no undeclared students left behind. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for that, Tinkle. And then from our Director of Graduate Studies, we also have Hisham Hussein, who I believe is not also going to be here. So for that, we'll transition on over into our general questions asked to each candidate. So let's go back to our Director of Undeclared Students, where I'm going to pose the same question to you, Tinkle. For this general question, you have 1 minute to answer, and the question is going to be, what actions have you taken in the past, either on campus or in the community, that demonstrated your leadership qualities?
I'm sorry, did you say Nikita first?
No,
Yeah.
Would you like for me to start off with Nikita?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nikita, we're going to start off with you, and I'm going to pose the question again. You have 1 minute to respond. It's going to be, what actions have you taken in the past, either on campus or in the community, that demonstrated your leadership qualities?
Yeah, thank you. So besides the Student Academic Senate and the Faculty Senate, I've also chaired the City Ambassadors Committee. I've been the Civic Engagement Coordinator for ASI. We've been getting students to register to vote. I've also been I am the president of the SSIS Joint Council, so something more relatable to our college. We've been working with our clubs to ensure that all student voices are represented from across the college, from all departments. And outside of school, I am the board member for the California Youth Empowerment Network, which works for youth mental health. And we've been advocating at the Capitol for bills such as SB 11, which would provide mental health curriculum from K through 12 education. And that's why it's so important to me. But those are some of the things that I did on campus and off campus. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you. And then let's move on over into answering the same question from Isabella Jimenez. Would you like for me to pose it again to you? Sure.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. So on campus, I'm a part of the UC Dems Club, and we recently went to go advocate at the Capitol, which was an amazing experience. I absolutely loved it. And off campus, I am a leader in my community as a gymnastics coach. I work as off coaching. I work with students to reaffirm their self-confidence as well as focus on their mental health. I act as a guide for mentors for new and coming coaches so that they can come to me as a guide whenever they're feeling insecure about their leadership or any other insecurities that they may face. I've also been advocating for rights ever since I've graduated from high school. I've protested at many BLM protests, especially during 2020. I've advocated a lot throughout my entire life, but this would be probably the most learning. It'd take a lot for me to learn, especially here. So thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll transition on over into Lillian, please.
So experience I have in advocation has been ever since I was little. I would travel across the state with my aunt to talk about and learn about different things. Struggling with Native Americans, I have helped teach younger natives different skills that usually you don't see a lot of natives in, so like film. I've also helped my friend with LGBT rights in my school. My old high school was known for racism and a lot of homophobia. So I've always tried to be a voice for people, even if I don't identify with the community. I think it's important to have as many people supporting them as possible. And on campus, I've been working closely with the INIT Club to promote different activities. And I recently just had a webinar where we talked about advocating for yourself in school.
Alrighty, thank you. And to circle back a little bit, Tinkle and Balia, I'm going to have you answer the same question of what actions have you taken in the past, either on campus or in the community, that demonstrated your leadership qualities? You have 1 minute to respond.
Okay, my experience as a secretary of an active group on campus, and name is Sanskriti Sextet, and I'm also active member, and right now is make me uniquely qualified for this role. And also in past, when I was in high school, I was vice president of the students club, where we organize lots of events, annual functions, where I direct all the students to do their work and what roles and events they are going to be take. So yeah, that was my experience in past.
Thank you for that. And so given that we have stated our general question, let's move on over into our positional question. And so for our Director of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies, Nikita, I'm gonna have you start off again. And the question is, what methods would you use to get input from the students in your college or group? Once again, the question is, what methods would you use to get input from the students in your college or group? And you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Tyler. So methods that I would be using is actively reaching out to our students. So as president of the SSIS Joint Council, that question is really relevant. How do we get students to participate? And so through that council, we can hear opinions and ideas, thoughts from our clubs, from our students. We can actively go and ask specific questions that we want. Other ways, working with our faculty, giving presentations and asking students what they think is important on campus and what ideas they have. And of course, having the door always open for all of the students. We want to ensure that the director's office is an open space. It's for all students, for all opinions, that we want students to come there and help us, the directors, because we're doing this for the students, to give that feedback of how we're doing, what we should be doing, and where we should be improving. So thank you. That would be my answer.
Thank you. And then let's transition on over into Isabella. I'll say the same question again. What methods would you use to get input from the students in your college or group? You have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you for that question. There is a large untapped community outside of our clubs that simply do not know what ASI is or what they do. So I believe by trying to promote our opportunities on campus, on our social media for those students, we will be able to ensure that they're properly represented and aware of the opportunities that they have. Again, to reiterate, as my goal for the director is to promote a safe environment where students are uplifted in their self-confidence and are given the opportunities for self-promotion. And the ways I would try to reach out for those is to collaborate with the multiple agencies we have on campus to create events in which students can participate in, and also, again, promote these events in a way that students are able to be aware of them. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Lillian, I'll have you state this, read it from the same question. What methods would you use to get input from the students in your college or group?
Something that I would do is our current director of SSIS does have a board in Amador Hall that has all of her information. I'd like to do something similar, but also add on a QR code to a Google form where people can input actual problems. So I can check that Google form daily to see what is happening currently in the student body. I'd also like to work with maybe housing to see if they could encourage students to reach out to their ASI board members. And I know we have freshman seminar classes that are mandatory for your GE. So working with those faculty to tell freshmen that there are people in ASI that are here to help are great ways to reach out to people who maybe have not yet joined clubs. You can also work with clubs that fall within our board, our college, and tell them to promote it on like their Discords or social medias. Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. And then Tinkle, I'm going to pose the same question to you as well. What methods would you use to get input from the students in your college? And you have 1 minute to answer.
Okay, so as per my opinion, there was one more important thing is the regular communications. The one of the most important thing is the communications with the students and the ASI governments. The officer is like, if we do the communications with the students, we get to know what are their needs and what they are particularly looking for, and the communication with make more know about the students. The another thing is I would say one-on-one meeting, like by a one-on-one meeting with the students who are struggling to find their academic directions. During this meeting, we can provide guidance and support tailored to each students and the unique needs. And the one other things I would like to agree with the Isabel, the collaboration. We can do the collaboration with another department on that. Is there like the lots of department on campus? The last thing I would say that we can also, okay, thank you very much.
Apologize for sticking it up late. I'm sorry, Tinkle.
Alrighty, thank you all for such beautiful answers. Now we'll get on over into our closing statement. So we're going to start going back to our social sciences and disciplinary studies director candidates. I think I'm going to have Nikita start us off, and you have 1.5 minutes to give this closing statement.
Yeah, thank you. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. It's been a wonderful experience to get on this forum and to discuss our platforms. As an advocate, a fighter for our students, for our issues, I want to say that I will continue fighting for our students and for the SSIS department and our whole university as a whole. It's not about me, it's about all of you. We're voting for our next leaders. We're voting for individuals that are going to represent all of us. And as a fighter and an advocate, I hope to have your vote next week on April 12th and 13th. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now we're going to transition on over into Isabella for a minute and a half closing statement.
Okay, again, thank you guys all for coming here. This, like Nikita said, this has been a wonderful experience campaigning. I would like to reiterate the importance of spreading love through leadership. I'd be honored to act as an avenue for students to take when they're experiencing lack of guidance, or simply be the listening ears our students need. My goal is to enhance student confidence and self-promotion by adequately representing our community of the unrepresented, and by uplifting our students in ASI, we will be able to act more efficiently when finding solutions to the hurdles of simply being a college student. Thank you guys, and please rock the vote on April 12th and 13th.
Thank you. And now for Lillian Weiss, please.
I'd like to thank every participant for joining and hearing us today. I'd like to emphasize how important community is. It can especially be scary being alone if you're far from your hometown. And so by having a strong community, we can have a strong campus. And you can't be a leader if there's no one who's following you. And I want you guys to all know that if you vote for me, I will be willing to listen to every single one of your guys' problems. Just reach out, don't be afraid. And if you're scared to reach out to someone else, I will be willing to help with that too. Thank you.
Thank you. And then to end us off, we'll have Tinkle and Babaya, please.
Okay, well, thank you all of you for your time and attention. I would like to thank you all, as I'm filled with the sense of purpose and patience for the work ahead. My vision for this position is clear: to create a supportive and inclusive environment. Throughout my campaign, I have shared with you my commitment to regular communication, one-on-one meeting, workshop. I ask for your support making this vision a reality. Let's work together to empower undeclared students to achieve their academic goals and thrive in college careers. Thank you again for your support and considering my candidacy for the Director of Undeclared Students. Don't forget to vote for me on April 12th and 13th. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you all for those closing statements. Given that we have provided the questions from our area, we'll now open it up to the audience to pose any questions to the candidates. And if you'd like to ask any questions, can I please also have you include your first and last name, as well as your Sac State email when asking the questions within the chat. And then for our candidates, can I please have you hold off until I read the question for you then to answer.
And just to clarify, they go into the Q&A because the chat is not available. So you can put your first and last name and your SAC link, and we'd be happy to take your question. Christian, if you want to add your first and last name and your SAC link email, that would help. Thanks. Thanks, Christian. Unfortunately, no candidate, regardless of what position they're running for, may ask a question of another candidate. So unfortunately, we won't be able to ask your question today, but we welcome any other questions from any of our guests.
I encourage you all to ask our amazing candidates here to ask them any questions or anything you'd like to see change happening on your campus or any groups or organizations you're a part of. Alrighty, so we do have a question from Ellen, and it's to our SSIS candidates, and it is as follows. We are one of the largest colleges, so how do you plan to represent various majors within our college? Once again, the question is, we are one of the largest colleges, so how do you plan to represent the various majors within our college? And to start us off, we'll have Nikita Akumov, and you have 1 minute to respond.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, well, it is the biggest college on campus, and with big colleges comes big advocacy. I think working with students and our SSIS Joint Council, which is supposed to be that bridge between the college, the students, and the ASI office. I think also meeting with the deans, which is in the responsibilities of the director, meeting with the deans and discussing the issues of the college. That's also a very, very important thing. And representing various majors within our college is just looking and getting students from all different departments, getting that diversity in our SSIS Joint Council, in our town halls, if directors have town halls, meeting with deans. So it's just about going out there, advocating for students, talking with students, and making sure that students from various departments are heard. So that would be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll transition on over into Isabella, please.
Okay, thank you. I believe a lot of our clubs in the SSIS major aren't adequately represented or do not have the voice of their own to uplift their recruitment. What ASI can do is we can create workshops for clubs on how to work on their outreach, on how to promote recruitment, or on how to plan events and gather the resources for those events. A lot of clubs here do not have the resources to advocate for their own representation, especially in our environmental studies program here on Sac State. They are very undermined, even though they have a large even though they should have a large voice in our policy, because I believe climate change is definitely one of those things that will affect us all. Going along said, there are a lot of clubs here that are just underrepresented, and they need the facilities and the resources to be able to adequately represent themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Lillian, I'll pose the same question to you as well.
What I would do to represent the various majors in our college is to get to know them. I do have a lot of experience with the ethnic studies department, especially. I'm trying to learn more about the anthropology. I know there's a lot of tension between those two, but it would be great to reach out to the faculty in charge of them, especially advisors, to see what ways that we can get our word out. And like I said, most of the SSI college is located in Amador. So having a place that a lot of people would see readily when walking through the halls is also a great place to gain a lot of traction. But just knowing who you're representing, what do they need to be supported, is just a big part of it, and just outreach.
Thank you. So that does conclude our segment for that question specifically from Ellen. If anyone else has any other questions they'd like to ask our candidates, either from our Director of Undeclared or also from our SSIS candidates, you are more than welcome to. Alrighty, so given that I don't see any other questions within our Q&A chat box, I'm just going to go over a little bit about our upcoming events. So starting next week on Monday, we will be starting our Vice President candidate forum for our executive positions. Within that will entail our Vice Presidents of Finance, our Vice Presidents of University Affairs, and our Vice Presidents of Academic Affairs. This will still be hosted online on Zoom from 12 to 1 p.m. And then the following day, we'll have our presidential tickets, where you'll be hearing from our 3 tickets, our 6 candidates in total, same time hosted on Zoom. And then also the following day on April 12th, that's when our voting days begin. And we will also be hosting an elections kickoff event. This one is going to be hosted in the library quad area from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please feel free to join us. We can get some activities done and also some light refreshments. And then on April 13th, we'll also be having voting days occurring as well. But following the elections closure of the ballots at 7:30 p.m., we will be having our elections results party happening within the Global Round Lounge right next to Grumpy Mule and across from the library. So please join us to go over the elections results. And also we will be having a little bit of food there as well. And we can just meet and have and celebrate with all our candidates. So given that is all for today's segment of today's candidate forum. If you have any questions, please feel free to come to the ASI government office or shoot not only me or our executive and board associate, Lisa Dalton, an email. We are located within the University Union on the 3rd floor in room 3250. You can also check us out on Instagram. But yeah, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. But as of now, everyone have a beautiful day.